Thanks for ET. Thanks to my friend Durga Prasad Dubey, who spoke in the morning, my ex-senior colleague. The idea of me coming here is that just to take care of BFSI, with which I am connected for the last 38 years. Most of my time I spent in bank supervision, regulation, finance companies, etc. The purpose of this session is more special to me than you, I suppose. More expectation than giving, more taking than giving. That's how I look at it. When I speak to the CISOs. You know banks are special. I'm not going to talk about how they are special and other things. I'm going to start with a story. Go back to 2017, somewhere around 2017. You all had a credit card or debit card, and you have swiped the card, debit card in the ATM, or you have swiped your card in the POS machine, and some bank picks up this, an acquiring bank, and it processes, and then money is paid to the merchant. And your credit card number or debit card number and the PIN number is also stored. And you do not belong to that bank. You may belong to SDFC or SBI or some other bank, but you go to a third bank. The third bank happens to the banker to that merchant, and he picks up your transaction and processes it and keeps the card number and the PIN number. One fine day, there is a cyber attack. 30 lakh, 3 million card numbers and PIN number were stolen. Attack. And sold in the dark web. You know, the card number and PIN number you can sell in a packet of 1,000 card number. You may get for $5, $10, or 5 cent, 10 cent type kind of market is there. And then you can manufacture the card and swipe internationally. And take out of money, either credit card or debit card. This is the scenario, this is what has happened. It's not a story, this happened. 3 million transactions, 3 million cards were compromised and belonging to many of the banks just because there is one bank was involved. Now tell me what is the implication here. The implication is simple. Your card was issued by SDFC, SBI, and you went and swiped without knowing anything and withdrawn the money. And that bank, which is the weakest point in the chain, weakest link in the chain, could not protect you, though you are not a customer to that bank. 30 lakh pieces of card numbers have been compromised, sold. How do you look at it? This is what we call network industry. The problem in the network industry, banks are highly networked. So in the network industry, it's not only the strongest bank, it is not only the strongest security that is required, but it is also required the same kind of security at the weakest bank. The banks are the multi-tier banks, are there a public sector, private sector, old private, new private, then there is a cooperative banks. Every bank in the value chain has to be as strong as the SBI or SDFCs. If that is not the case, then you will be in trouble. It exactly happened. I was heading the fraud monitoring at that time. All of a sudden, I start seeing the fraud reporting by banks in 20, 30, 50s, all cards swiped in Europe, Eastern Europe, Russia, and varieties of Canada, Africa. Everywhere these cards get sold or swiped. The point that is to be learned is that in a network industry, it's not like the ransomware, through a ransomware, a hospital database has been taken on board. Only one hospital is affected. If there is a corporate, maybe your corporate supply chain management and other architecture may be affected. But what if it is a bank? If you capture one bank, then there is a problem with the other banks as well. So therefore, it's very important that the banks, the CISOs of banks, are much more responsible, much more, expectations are very high on the banking system. This is the first lesson or the first story I have for you. The second story, I used to talk to this foreign bank, the CIO, there was no CISO at that time, nowhere in 2010 or 11. After talking to him intimately, somewhere he said, Balu, I have become paranoid these days. The kind of thing I see, that's a foreign bank, global bank, having presence in almost more than 100 countries. and he's from Australia. So he says that I'm paranoid. So the CIO comes, CISO, you can say. Are you paranoid? If you are paranoid, maybe, justifiably so. But the question is that you have to take care of your bank or your institution, or as a CISO. That's very important. In fact, at this point of time, I remember there used to be a CEO of Bridgewater, a biggest hedge fund, Ray Dalio. He has interviewed Narendra Modi also. Once he said that if you are not worried, you have to worry. If you are worried, you need not have to worry. I repeat, if you are worried, if you are not worried, you have to worry. If you are worried, you need not have to worry. Meaning, this is what the role of CISO. So you have to worry, so that you need not have to worry. That is the message that he says in the context of the running an economy, running the monetary policy, running the economic management. That is for the policy makers, but that's true with the kind of crowd we have with us. Couple of years back, maybe a decade-old case, Union Bank of India lost 400 crore in a cyber attack. Their overseas account, where New York they maintained the account, that was taken out, money was taken out and remitted to Hong Kong and other places. What is known as SWIFT messaging system. The same SWIFT messaging system was compromised to the very low-level officers, and messages were issued, liability was created for Nirav Modi. Nirav Modi was accommodated for 13,000 crore in a particular bank. 13,000 crore. Just because they could not exercise the control of that SWIFT message, which is nothing but a simple desktop. What is the role of CISO there? What was happening? Banks have almost multi-tier control system. There is a branch manager, there is an officer, there is a clerk, and there is a controller, regional manager, zonal manager, then head office, general manager, the executive director, chief executive officer, CISO. Then there is an audit committee, there is a board, there is a reserve bank, over and above. Nobody could prevent. It is going on for quite some time. Point is this is what you call, is it a cyber attack? No. Morning Mr. Dubeji was telling, or somebody was mentioning, yesterday I think, 85% of the problem is a human-centered. So it is not technology, it's a human-centered. That also we need to keep in mind, we as CISOs. I think that it's amply discussed. Some years back, I wrote a speech for my deputy governor on fraud. I was heading the fraud monitoring in Reserve Bank. I wrote a speech. In one of the places I mentioned that more technology is a solution for the technology risk, somewhere to that meaning. You should bring in more technology to address the technology risk. I don't know how many of you agree that more technology is the solution for the technology risk. My boss was there before we went to the deputy governor for the speech approval. He wrote, more technology is not a solution. He added word not. How many of you feel that more technology is not a solution for technology risk? I don't know. How many of you? I think the lady here. So technology is not a risk. Because more technology means you have to bring in better technology. Better technology to address what is known as technology risk. Can you wish away the technology risk? Again, it's a perception. Can you wish away the cyber? Can you wish away the cyber events? Can you build up a only wide area network or closed user group or VPN type of networks only? That's also not practical. You got to be exposed to the internet. So therefore, this is again perception, how we perceive things. Whether more technology is a solution to the technology risk, more technology is a solution to the cyber risk that we are discussing. It's up to our the way we look at it. Again, out of my experience, I can say, you as a CISO, whether it's manufacturing, trading, services, or banking, or insurance, more or less it's true. Nearly 80% of the fraud or the cyber events happens because of the execution risk or the change management problem or the bugs in the system. It is not taken care at the user acceptance test level. 80%, that's my colleague, even yesterday I was talking to the person who takes care of the cyber risk in Reserve Bank. Saying 80% is because of these kind of problems only at outer fringe. Managing the change, executing the projects, and keeping control on the execution, the system study, proper system study, and remaining the unattended bugs. This is what has resulted in the loophole. Yet another instance, a cooperative bank, sizable, couple of years only, it was some 2 years back it happened. The man in the middle attack has happened on this bank. Though there is no balance in the account, when he swiped in the ATM, it gets passed. The tick, the yes mark was tick, and then it should get passed. This attack was there. In 3 or 4 hours, 80 crore was withdrawn, just in 4 hours, in this particular small cooperative bank. So some behaviors were noticed in the card network company. The network company alerted somewhere after half an hour or 1 hour. The gentleman who was supposed to take care of that, he was in a film theater in a mall. He did not step out and come back and then see what is happening. And then this card network company also did not bother. It looks like this is what the post facto analysis. Within 3 to 4 hours, 80 crore was taken out. Point is that expeditious, alert, handling, can't say it's a false positive and then you cannot just keep quiet. In fact, any cyber events, the reporting time is 2 hours. Within 2 hours, all the banks have to report to Reserve Bank within 2 hours. There is a gradation of severity. There are how to reporting, all those things are there, textbook approach. We do not have to go into that. But then within 2 hours, it has to be reported to Reserve Bank. And Reserve Bank has an internal, crisis management group which acts upon, they again layered approach, depending upon the complexity and size of the attack and all those things. Whether the organizations are prepared, yes, I suppose. But then in this cooperative bank, that was totally opposite. When I was going around, in the stalls, many people were suggesting that this is what my product for the banking system, mobile application, and other thing. I must tell you that not all banks are same. Not all finance companies are not same. Not all cooperative banks are at the same level. So they have different levels. So therefore, my request to you, those who have put out the stalls here for, creating a market for themselves, I keep telling them, at least a couple of them I told, that I do a gap analysis. If you think that you have a solution for filling the gap, that gap, Reserve Bank has not said that there is a gap, you have to fill up this gap this way. So regulations have been laid out. I think you can bring change. You can write to the CEO that your bank is not following this particular protocol. For that protocol, I have this product. Can you write to the CEO? Can you write to the Reserve Bank saying that I find that this is what is happening. I find in Europe, my parent has done this and I'm going to replicate. I'm going to deploy in India. Can you just examine this, how serious it is from the regulatory angle? If this community do this much, you're doing a great service. After all, those who are, OEM sellers who are here, and our role, there's no difference. We also want a robust, cyber-free, cyber event-free banking system. We want a sanitized system. And if you are all helping, why not? So therefore, I call upon that those who have a unique product to offer need to know how to change the banks, how to change the system, how to change the regulation, how to bring in a market for yourself because you are doing a service in a way which is very much required. Otherwise, it's catastrophic. You cannot expect the regulators to lay down every line of regulation that is required in support of your product or your process or your protocol. Regulation is always more of a principle-based. But the point is that whether you are ready. I have last 20 seconds. Lastly, There is a lot of digital arrest, investment fraud, and OTP compromise, and everything is dubbed as a cybersecurity event, cyber event. My request to you is that banks are strong, banks have system, banks are certainly, in terms of their cyber preparedness, they are up to the mark. Absolutely, you can rest assured. Only thing is that people compromise on their OTP, people are greed, they invest, people get, out of fear, they get digitally arrested, and there is no cyber event there. Let us all remember, our senior management also feels the same thing, that we should propagate. We should tell the whole world that there is no problem with the banks, there is no problem with the system, there is no problem with the NPCI. The problem is with the here. So therefore, the problem is individual. We are not talking about cyber events which are of systemic nature. We are just talking about the individuals. So with this, I stop here. Thank you once again, ET. Thank you.